Well, it's Friday morning, and once again, time for relaxing painting with Dice and Dungeons. I'm here at the workbench with some assassins. That's what we're calling them anyway. It looks very monochromatic, but there's like 5 colors on there, so I don't know. That kind of happens is you put different colors on, and it doesn't look all that contrasty. But anyway, they're sneaky assassins. They're all masked up, and they've got these big cloaks. I'm going to be finishing these today, probably, if everything goes well, before break. Well before break, anyway. All I've really got to do with them is paint the backs of the cloaks. There's a lot of cloak there, so I'm going to be using a smaller brush to do the edging around the face and the shoulders and things on both of these, and then probably pull out like a big brush like this, just get the color on the back. This is going to be, what a surprise, a very dark blue. I use a lighter blue. You can't really tell that it's light, but it is. No, they can't do a flip because it would break off the dagger that I made out of a toothpick, and I don't want to do that. But I can do a flip around them. So yeah, it's going to be very dark. And then I'm going to wash them with a dark gray wash to make them yet even darker. So these guys are going to be, they're just going to be in the shadows. They're going to be shadows, I guess. And then I'll paint the bases, if I remember correctly, and I don't. I think I used red, brown on all the other bases, so I'll use that color, and hopefully it'll be the same. If not, I'll find out when I compare it to the ones I've done before. After I'm done with those, see, once you only had 2 flips there. I'm going to do these barbarians. That's what they seem to be. This guy also never had a sword. It never printed, so I made a very big toothpick sword for him. And these guys are going to be in a blue motif. So I got out all sorts of blue paint, right? So we'll have blue, and then maybe I'll use some like dark gray on maybe the pouches or the belts or something. The boots I'll make black. But yeah, they've got armor, leather armor, and large swords, and he's really good. Got a big focuses. It's not going to come into focus, is it? Big screamy face and a giant beard, so that'll be interesting. Anyway, yeah, minifigs today, and if I keep talking about it, I won't have to do any painting, right? Right, who? I'm pretty good at that. I can fill like a half hour of talking about what I've done and what I might do, and maybe I'll get around to doing this or not, and then I don't really have to do any painting. It's just relaxing. Yeah, start painting. I thought you wanted a flip. Do I have to do a flip for who? I'm going to flip a super glue tube. So I got these out. I don't know if it's even any good anymore. It's been around forever and ever and ever. A long, long time. Like 20 years or something. I'm not kidding. It could be that long, but it's still sealed on top. I got these out because on Submarine Wednesday, I thought maybe I would use that to attach torpedoes to the torpedo racks, but I didn't. I used clear Gorilla Glue instead because I wanted to be able to adjust the location of the torpedoes on the racks, and that was a good move because I needed to do that. they didn't set in the right place. And then they got bumped and they moved, and anyway. Yeah, I killed this, yes. I've gotten to be very, very good at not painting, unrelaxing painting, by talking about what I've done and what I'm going to do. And if you've watched the stream, you find out that eventually I do some painting, because these guys are, there's paint on them, so I must have done some painting sometime on one of these days. And so I'm putting them on these holders here so that I can finish off the capes, which cover like the entire back of the model, and there's no place to hold them other than these little dagger things. Yeah, so Dyson Dungeon. I could do that. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to multitask here. I'm going to actually start stirring the paint color I'm going to be using for the capes. Get a little bit of rave effect that who likes. So yeah, Dyson Dungeons is a Dungeons and Dragons campaign outfit. A group of family and friends that gets together, and we stream our campaign Sundays at 2 with a live chat, and you can catch it later on YouTube or listen to it as a podcast, because we're almost always talking. There's no silence during our campaign, very rarely, and if there is, there's really nice background music anyway. But for some reason, somebody's always chatting. So there's that, and you're really welcome to join in on that, because it's really a great campaign. I think we're well into the 70s in terms of the number of episodes that have been streamed so far. Yeah. So what I've been able to do here, since Nicole, when Nicole painted the holder, rotated the camera so now everything's sideways, and I'm starting to get used to it. I'm discovering which direction oftentimes to move things, but most importantly, I have found that there are like landmarks here on the cardboard I'm using as background that tells me when I'm on camera or not. So there's that. You don't like this cable? I suppose I could. There. We're doing some studio renovation right live. There, is that better? Yeah. So if I put glasses on or off, or look like I'm having trouble focusing, that is true. I got new glasses a couple months ago, and they weren't working very well. One of the lenses, I think, wasn't crafted quite right or something. It's hard to focus on it. So they're back at the optometrist. And these are my old ones, which there's a reason why I got new ones. But then I take them off so I can see things close up, but then that doesn't focus either. So, yeah, I'm going to try to do the outline. Did I just bump this? The whole thing is in a different place now. Stand by it. That was weird. Sorry, folks. Yeah, everything's just not going well today. You would think this was a Monday. There, no, it's right in front of my face, which was the point of moving it in the first place. And the cable's back. Okay, pay attention to what I'm not painting instead of me. Then it'll be okay. Okay, if you just focus on what I'm not painting and not my face, because now I've got a camera and a cable in front of it, whereas earlier it was just a cable. Yeah. Paint is probably settled by now. I don't know. You would think that I'd be moving along a little faster, but I'm not. And I'm not going to be. Okay, so here's this really nice dark blue paint. And I'm gonna grab one of these and start putting paint on the cape, and trying, as I often say, trying to put paint where I want it and not where I don't. See how that's going to go today. I might end up having to put my head magnifiers on just to be able to see anything at all today. All of these colors end up just looking like just various shades of black. Yeah, so here it is, Friday. And this is relaxing painting, and look, I am putting paint on something. It's pretty good. It's only 1/4 after, and I'm already painting, because it has been, lately it's just been, I don't, no, seriously, I'm having a hard time seeing this today, because my eyes are focused with these old glasses. And now they're not focusing up front, so I'm going to have to put on my head magnifiers while I'm doing the periphery, the edging here. This is supposed to be relaxing painting. That's what the title of the show is. Part starts. No. There. No. I'll be able to see a tiny spot in front of the lens here. My hand is sort of cooperating today, which is to say that it's aching or anything in any major way. With these magnifiers, I can see things, it magnifies things like this. This is a 2x right now. Makes things look bigger. But it doesn't necessarily do any. It improves my ability to see these things, but it doesn't have any impact on my ability to actually make it, get it done and do it right. So sometimes it's a little discouraging rather than helpful, because I can see the flaws in the paint application better. These nice adjustable lenses, I can flip them back and forth like that, which supposedly allows me to get a comfortable angle for my head, and for what I really need is for the paint surface to be up this high. Yeah, I need like a... I'll try this just to see if I can get it to be a little more comfortable. I'm going to use this box, which is a little higher than I wanted, but it's better than it was before, to hold this. Like if this were Nicole doing this would all be done by now, because he has a much steadier hand. It's just a lot more skilled. So but I am painting, so you have to give me that. I am actually painting on relaxing painting with Tyson Dungeons. So if you watch Submarine Wednesday was like a high water mark, I think, for not getting anything done. I was amazed at how, even though I dawdled around at the beginning of the stream, for maybe a half hour or something, just, talking about submarines and 60s cartoons and stuff, trying to get the relaxing part in before the painting. I did, and then I took a shorter break than usual. So out of the 4-hour stream, I know that I was actually painting for at least 3 hours of that. And at the end of the stream, I did a review of what I accomplished, and it was like practically nothing. It was amazing how little I was able to accomplish in that period of time. But we'll see how this goes today. I should by all rights have finished the cloak on this figure already. I mean, not just the edging of it, the whole thing should really have been done by now. Is it? No, it's not. Maybe that's what's meant by relaxing painting. Relaxing, kind of a metaphoric sense of say, I'm just relaxing today, which means that you're not doing anything. Maybe that's what that means here in this stream, is that the relaxing part is not getting things done. Why is this all not working right? Yeah, so that's great. That's the edge of one side of the cloak. Let's see, I did the head part already, so that's good. I just need to do the edge here on this side. My eyes have just gotten so out of focus I can't even read the large print on the chat saying no. Well, I'm glad you enjoy watching me not, well, for a long time I was not painting. Today I just dove right into it. I mean, relatively speaking. It was only 15 minutes into wasting relaxing time before I actually started putting paint on this thing. But I'm going at super relaxed pace today, though, it seems. This box up here is not an ad for the paint. I don't want it to be construed that way at all. It's for me to hold the model up at a height that is comfortable. Because you can't have relaxing painting if it's uncomfortable, right? And it was, so now this is not uncomfortable. It's a little bit high. Turn it on its side here in a minute and see if that's a little better height. But here I am on a roll here, just getting paint on the edge. Looking at this, and it's even at the high magnification, which magnifies the flaws. Yeah, that's okay. That'll do. But let's see. Yeah, that's a little better, that height. Yes, I get to clean this brush. You can say whatever you want when my head is magnified. You know, I don't do the music, so I don't have any control over it. But there are times when I can come really close to feeling like I should be doing angry, violent painting. There have been some times things have been going fairly poorly in terms of the painting part. But I've been told that you know, I just need to keep any sense of inflection or emotion out of my voice. Just be dull to be as dull as I possibly can. I find that actually pretty easy because by nature I am pretty dull. In a monotone, I am there. Look at that. I got paint all over the back of this. It's almost like painting. And it was fairly relaxing. So this is going to dry, and then I'm going to wash this whole thing in dark gray wash. And so all the care that I've taken, to make sure that the paint was in the right place and that there were different colors and things. It'll probably just disappear in the wash. It'll disappear in the wash because I'll just wash it all gray, and then it'll look all gray and gray. Well, anyway, there. That was that. Now I've got one more to do. I'm going to go through the same process of making a mess. Did you see that? That was pretty good, wasn't it? Yeah, but Bob Ross isn't alive anymore. I don't want to be quite literally like Bob Ross. I have watched some of his shows, though. I have to admit that it was always kind of fascinating to watch. He would just take these weird brushes and different colors and like dabbing paint on things, and it ended up looking like something. Yeah, this brush isn't cleaning, but I'm going to use the same color with it soon enough anyway, so I'll clean it then. Okay, what I need to do here is the same sort of thing that I just did on the other one, which is to paint around the head and all the way down the edges. And then what I really want is for this to be like there. That doesn't feel comfortable. It helps me focus better. Does that look weird? I hope it looks weird. It's like, who is it, Chuck Schumer, who wears these reading glasses way down on his nose? Yeah, so this is the same thing except with these really big head magnifiers. I think part of it is that I got used to the trifocals, and the near focus is way down at the bottom of the lens, which is why you always see people reading like this, because that's where it is. And so I got used to that, and now these focus like right in front, right in the I feel vision, so it's different. Yeah, so we're putting this even darker grayish blue color on the back of the cape. As opposed to the light gray, the dark gray, the black, and the lighter grayish dark blue. This is where I'm starting to say, oh, I'm getting the swing of things. The paint is going on much more quickly. Now I need to be super cautious because this is usually where things are going well, and I smash it right into something that then would have to be touched up with two coats of paint. There's a dark splotch on a light surface. Try not to do that. Did the easy side first. I'm not sure what the story is about these guys. In one of our streams, actually it went on for a couple of sessions. We were down in the sewer. Earlier in our campaign, we spent a lot of time in sewers. I'm not sure if that was, what do they call it, canon? I'm not sure if that was canon in terms of how the game was designed, or whether it was just because some of the first dungeon tiles that we did were sewer tiles. I'll show you some of them, because there's a little sample of them here. Anyway, we were spending a lot of time in sewers. So we were walking through the sewer. We came upon this place where it looked like there had been a really nasty event. There was blood all over the place. We got there after the event, so we were assuming, still don't know for sure. But the assumption was, because there was blood all over the place, that was the scene of some sort of murder cult, that there was like a sacrifice or some sort of killing that went on. We don't know that for sure. I mean, it might have just been, it might have been like a blood bank transportation accident. They were transferring blood from the collection site where the people had, graciously donated it to maybe a hospital where it'd be used, and they were going through the sewers because that was just faster than dealing with the traffic up on the surface, right? That could be what happened. And someone who was carrying one of the boxes of blood bottles slipped on the muck down in the sewer, and it dropped and spilled the blood. So maybe there wasn't a murder at all. I think there was a dagger with blood on it, but blood, when they were cleaning it up, he dropped his dagger and it got into it. So that could have been what happened. Might not have been a murder cult at all. But there were ruins. No, I don't think it was a butcher shop. It was, they would have... Okay, I'm going to have to put these glasses that don't work very well. Work more the science work. Not yet. That might be a possibility. Maybe we'll do that in one of our Patreon exclusive warm-ups. Let me talk about that. If you go to patreon.com/diceanddungeons, you can become a patron of Dice and Dungeons. And you have access to all sorts of special features, one of which is our warm-up sessions, where we do a kind of a spontaneous thing. We come up with something that isn't canon, isn't in the regular show. It might be relevant. There might be pretzels in it, maybe. Sturmgrimmy might show up. So yeah, if you become a Patreon on patreon.com/DiceandDungeons, you have access to these. There's a whole bunch of them. I don't know how many there are now. I know there's more than a dozen. Some of which are very, very entertaining. Some of which are just silly. You won't know what you've got until you watch them. But it's really worth doing. Anyway, Orc Mork the Science Orc. Maybe that's something we could do on Obsessions. And if we did, if you became a Patreon supporter, you'd be able to see it. Is that for a promo? Okay, well, there's paint all over the back of this guy now. And as sometimes happens with, yeah, it happened here. Look at that. See? When there's a large surface of a monochrome color like that, sometimes the paint doesn't cover. I don't know why that is, even though when it's wet, it looks like it did. So do a real quick touch up there. There was a spot where I could use the big brush. Yeah, so anyway, there was blood and a bloody dagger, and we immediately jumped to the conclusion that it was some sort of murder cult. I suppose part of the reason is because there were runes on the wall. Well, yeah, I mean, you wouldn't call him the science orc if it weren't an orc now, would you? That would... Not sure why you would do that. So you don't. I think that's the role that Dole plays, though. So we found this bloody mess down in the sewer, because we spent a lot of time in sewers, because we had lots of sewer tiles, and so that's the kind of... We didn't have other dungeon tiles ready. So we spent time in the sewer, because that's the kind of... we could set that up. And there was blood there that could have been from, it could have been a butcher shop. Not likely, but it's more likely that it was just transporting blood from the blood bank to a hospital. It got spilled, but there were these runes on the wall, and the runes, if you looked at them, caused huge amounts of psychic damage. So Zoria, foolishly or bravely, I would say that it's something that, is in Zoria's character. You can't tell if it's foolish or brave, but to be honest, one could say the same thing about any of the characters in our party, except for the new one, Holwyn. Holwyn doesn't seem to be... No, it's not. I'm sure it wasn't. Well, it might have. The runes on the wall might have been like directions, instructions on how to cut the meat. Maybe they were a recipe. But wow, this is not getting clean. I'm going to have to give this an alcohol bath just to get the paint out, because if I use it on a lighter color, it'll bleed through. So these runes, I think there were 5 of them, and Zoria got at least 2.5, maybe it was almost 3 of them copied. And she shows them to people every now and then, and it gives them psychic damage, except for one person that we met. One NPC didn't hurt them because they were dead. They were like a ghost. So, yeah, we jumped to the conclusion that it was some sort of horrible murder cult. And then Dole, who knows lots about lots of things, told us that it was very, very dangerous, that this was some sort of extraplanar kind of thing. that we needed to be extremely careful. Anyway, we haven't run into it again, which I think is a good thing, not having run into it again. But that's the story of how we made up a murder cult that may or may not really exist, because there could be another explanation for it. What we do know is that it was, look at that. See that down there? There's a spot there that is not covered in the paint that I just capped up and carefully put away. That's why I sigh. Say, why are you going, why do you sigh? And it's like, well, why not? You know? If you're in the under 7 or over 70 demographic, I think you can just sigh whenever you want. It could be a sigh of the times. So look at the other one. Well, some of us jumped to conclusions, but Nines didn't. Because Nines doesn't even know Nines is a tabaxi, a cat. Other than jumping out of windows, which happens with some frequency. Nines usually makes Ulset Ralph carry them instead of jumping. But I think Nines really didn't jump to conclusions as much as just sort of lolled around and whined for somebody to bring them food conclusions. Okay, well, I'm letting those dry now. And the next step is there's two washes that are going to be going on this. I'm going to use just a gray wash, which is a very lightly pigmented wash. And I'm going to be putting that on the hands and the face. And I might just do that first because the cape is still drying. You know, I'm going to take a chance and the cape is still drying, and I don't want to wash that while it's still all wet like that. I might just use the tiny brush for the gray wash. This is the gray wash here. These washes settle. I mean, the pigments really settle quickly on them, so you're going to get to hear this thing stir for quite a while. Anyway, that's the story of what the party thought was a murder cult, and which Dole said was extremely dangerous, interplanar disruption kind of thing. And we might actually be meeting up with it again. I don't know. That might be why I've been painting all of these sewer tiles lately. We just finished a bunch of floors. The walls need to be primed yet. But what might be happening is that we're being set up by the DM to re-enter sewers, because we haven't been in sewers in quite a while. And there's hints because that there might be a murder cult resurgence, and these hints largely came in the form of missing people. There's a lot of missing folks lately. What I'm trying to do with this gray is, what I want to do is like emphasize the fingers. I don't want to make it look all splotchy necessarily, but I want to get it into the bits between the fingers. They just show a little better. It doesn't add a lot of color, but it does, if I can get it in there, that. And then on the face, the only thing that shows on the face are the eyes. So if I can get a little bit of this gray in there, I'll be able to see the eyes a little better. We don't have to worry very much about getting this on the surfaces other than the skin part, because those are going to be washed with a really dark gray. So this light gray is not going to be an issue. So the effect is, I don't know, too subtle maybe? I'm not sure. Finding to do, so that's what I'm doing. Some ghostly white hands and eyes. And you know, if there is a murder cult as opposed to either a butcher shop or a blood delivery courier service, and we have met them again, then that may be where these guys will show up. No, I don't. I'm just speculating. I have no idea. I have no idea if there really is a murder cult or not. We have no proof of it. All we know is that there are some runes that cause psychic damage that might not even been related to the blood on the floor. We don't know. Probably the one thing I'm most sure about, and I would give that a probability of like 40%, maybe a little less than half. If you've been watching the stream, you've learned a lot about fractions and percentages and things. So like maybe a 45% chance, just slightly less than 50-50, slightly less than half, that we're going to end up in a sewer again. And I'm saying that only because I painted 144 sewer tile floors. Okay, so there's some invisible gray wash that I put on the hands and face of these guys. It's a good way to use like 5 to 8 minutes of time and not really make anything come of it. But there. So what I want to do is wait for this. This is pretty dry. Yeah, these are getting pretty dry. Don't need these for this part. Much better with those in front of my face than otherwise, but I'm going to stir up the dark gray wash, and since these are so dark and gray anyway, I'm fairly confident that by putting wash on them, I won't mess them up. So yes, if you were to become a viewer of our Dungeons and Dragons campaign, Dice and Dungeons is primarily a D&D player stream. Sometime over the next couple of months, maybe, and I don't know this for sure, we may be going down into the sewers, and we may meet up with a murder cult. The only part of that I am sure about is that I painted 144 sewer tile floors. Oh, let me digress before I do any more painting. Okay. I know that everybody loves these digressions. It's what I do best. Here is a sample of our sewers. And this shows like all the features of the sewers. We have a barred gate. We have a sewer pipe, okay, with appropriately disgusting, slimy, gross stuff. This is the base gray that you saw me painting, and then the green wash on it, and that's all the like mold and slime and algae and stuff that's growing. And then there's brown, because there's brown stuff in sewage, and then there's black because that's even worse. And then there's usually, we put a stream of, there has to be a little trickle. Thank you, new follower. Sorry, I can't read the screen today. My eyes are way out of focus. Fate of the Dice. Thank you. Thanks for joining in and following. I hope that you find this to be relaxing, even though there isn't as much painting as is promised in the title of Relaxing Painting with Dice and Dungeons. Anyway, I'm showing off the sewer tiles. There's many features about these that I will show you. One is that they look pretty cool. I mean, they look real slimy and gross and everything, and we've gotten, probably the ones that we'll be doing next will look the same way. But the really cool thing about it is all of our tiles, dungeon tiles, are magnetized underneath. So under here, maybe you can see little shiny bits, are ball magnets, and they attach, and the whole thing holds together, but it also comes apart extremely easily, just like that. This is one piece because the bars go all the way across, so you can like rearrange them. So yeah, we over time have figured out how to mass produce these kinds of things. So now there is a mass of sewer tiles that have been produced that will be turning into sewer. And the wall tiles are to be primed, and they'll end up looking like this. There's a gray base coat, and then the algae slime, and then the dark line above that. So those will look that way. And then the troughs that I did a bunch of will have like 3 more layers of brown, black, and either, this is epoxy. You can use epoxy or realistic water or any really kind of clear thing that dries hard. The best part about these are the barred gates, because our D&D party, whenever confronted with a set of bars like that, will make every effort possible to try to get through them. So we'll get out crowbars, we'll get out raven bars. That's what Nines calls them. Nines calls them raven bars because it's bigger than a crowbar. That's the level of humor you get on our D&D campaign. Anyway, yeah, we'll try to cut through them, we'll try to dig through them, we'll try to bend them, we'll try to do all of that. Finally, after probably in some cases, in one case, I think we actually spent more than 20 minutes attempting to get through these bars. And finally, the DM said, okay, I'm metagaming here, you just can't get through. What do we said, what do you mean you can't get through? It's like, they're bars, right? We can get through. We want to get through to the other side. And the DM said, no, it's not in the game. You can't get through. So it's just become something we have to do. Whenever we're faced with bars like this, we have to do the best we can to get through them until the DM either lets us through or once again tells us to cut it out because we've used up half of the stream and the storyline isn't moving along. Anyway, that's why there are bars there. so that we can attempt to get through them and fail. Anyway, yeah, and this is how our tiles all work. And someday we'll have a really big sewer and probably claw through it, and we'll find out if there's really a murder cult or whether it was just a plasma delivery service or a butcher shop, or it might not have even been blood. I mean, for all we know, it might have just been like some sort of stage prop. We always revolt and go completely off the rails. I don't think that there have probably been like 10, maybe 15% of the episodes in our D&D campaign and stream where we have more or less remained on not the script, but the plan that the DM had prepared for. Almost always we end up, let's just say not, and we don't do what was expected of us. Okay, I'm going to use this kind of long, little broader brush, because as I'm putting on the wash, I want it to use it. I don't want it to be all spotty. I want it to be kind of, uniform. And I don't want to use a really big brush because it's way too big, but I'm just going to be putting wash on everything except for the parts where I put the imperceptible gray wash. Mm-hmm. So this is good that it's the same color wash on everything, and I don't have to worry about all the boundaries and edges. I just need to try to figure out glasses on, glasses off, head magnifier on, head magnifier off, which works best. In terms of getting my eyes to focus. So let's start on this. When this goes on, it frequently looks darker than it ends up being. And what I'm trying to get here is get it to concentrate in the folds of the cloak. So I'm actually going to brush across the grain here. I want it to get down into the folds, and show that. And then let's see, I'm not sure what's going to happen here on the lighter gray. Let's find out. At least, this part at least is fairly non-challenging. Mostly on camera too. That's pretty good. You probably can't see the difference right now because the whole thing has been washed, but what I'm going to do is bring up the other one. There, see, there's the difference. And you can see that it actually looks better with the wash on it, right? Hope so, because it's what it is. I'm not repainting it, it's not coming off. I will do the same sort of thing to this one. Nothing better than big, almost flat surfaces, right? Shadows there. Okay, and then we'll gray parts on this one too. I probably should be saying something while I'm doing this, because it's not like hugely taxing. What I'll say is that I splished out like 10 times more of this wash than I needed. Put 2 drops and I didn't even need 1. And this brush is nicely absorbent, so that it picks up some of it that maybe is on a little too heavy. Got to get the lapels. Get the lapels right. There we go. There. We spent a lot of time doing non-lethal damage to things, and then even Zoria changed their mind about that. And I think part of it was because the things that were attacking us were already dead. Although, you know, Brukelian and his crew, you wouldn't have gotten... Anyway, yeah. There've been some character development, I'll call it that, over time. Yeah, so these guys are done. I just need to do the bases. And if I recall correctly, I think I used red-brown. Can't remember if I used red-brown or flat-brown on the base. Ooh, you keep watching this, right? Did I use red-brown or flat-brown on the bases? I think what I used was flat earth. I've got like 4 brown colors that I use all the time. No, it wasn't that. It was darker than that. It was one of these 2 colors. Yeah. Zoria, our druid, always made us do non-lethal damage. My character, Ulset Ralph, the Furbolg fighter, got really good at just bopping people with the offhand weapon. Can't remember which of the two I used because it had been a while since I did. Be right back. I know that I used brown wash to make it look non-uniform, a little bit less than flat. So it's this color. This color is one of these two colors. All over my color chart. So I'm going to waste some more time here. This is relaxing, wasting time. As I look at my color chart to try to figure out which one. And you'd think, well, it doesn't make that big of a difference, but I've got like 18 of these things. I'm going to say flat brown. Which may or may not be the case. So I'm going to paint one of these, and hopefully it's flat brown, and we'll see. We'll see how it looks compared to the others. This guy was fun to paint. This is my fire mage. Okay. And the fire mage got into a battle with some creatures that were healed by fire. You can tell it's a fire mage because it's all fiery, you know, red and yellow and stuff. So yeah, these adversaries were healed by fire, so the fire mage was kind of less than useful. But having lived through that experience, decided that they would learn ice magic. And so this is a fire mage in the process of learning how to cast ice ball instead of fireball. Yep. I kind of like the way this came out. I used a whole bunch of yellows and reds and things. Most of them were really poorly behaved. They needed 2, sometimes 3 coats. But yeah, I think it came out okay. Even the little ice ball flame, the ice flame, turned out all right. But the reason this character is here is not to show it off, but to try to figure out what color I used for the base for these that I've done. How many have I done so far? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 of them. And they all have the same color base, so we're trying to just keep it all consistent. Yeah, so I'm going to be putting brown paint down here, and I hope that it is the right brown. Otherwise, you all get to watch me do it again when I paint brown paint on top of brown paint. This is not the simplest thing in the world to paint. You would think that's just, getting painting up to the edges here, but the cloak is way in the back, dragging on the ground. Trying to get the paint in there and not all over it is, holding the brush nicely horizontal and pushing the paint up to the edges kind of thing. should be doing right now is letting this dry. What I should do, I don't know if I will or not. I'll talk about what I should do. Is wait for this to dry to confirm whether it's the correct color. This is where our hero of the week, or month perhaps, Super Chicken. I put Super Chicken away somewhere because I was knocking it over. Red his companion, sidekick, is, you know, why don't you use your supervision? And Super Chicken would say, if I had any supervision, I wouldn't be in this mess. I have to keep saying that because I think that is, if one is like 6 years old, is really pretty clever. It's one of those funny things, right? That you remember from when you're young. Anyway, what I was saying is this is what I should be doing, is I should be waiting for this to dry to make sure it's the right color. Which is, it's really a stretch, isn't it? If you should be doing it, you would do it because of supervision. Okay. I think this is too dark. I think I might have used flat earth on the basis of these other ones. Now that I'm looking at it, it is definitely not that color. And it would have made sense that I used this color called flat earth as the base because it's flat earth. So that's going to dry and get repainted in a bit. Well, I had a 50-50 chance of picking the correct color. That's because there were two options. One of the two being one half being 50%, being even odds, or 50-50. Okay, so that didn't work out so well. This color better be the right color. But this, I can see that the flat brown is way redder, darker. So use this one instead. And if this isn't the right color, there isn't anything else. Whoa, that didn't mix. It's on there, I thought, long enough, but when you open the jar and you see that the paint is streaky, you know that it is not mixed well. What I should do is write it down somewhere like I did for the submarine colors. Is I should write down what color I used, so that if it's been more than an hour or something and I can't remember anymore, I can look at the chart and see. Not what I did though. Still streaky. Okay, so we're going to put flat earth on this. Whether this turns out to be the right color or not doesn't matter. It is the color that it will be. Keep going over this. So we're going to say, wow, that looks just fine. especially since this is kind of a pain in the butt to get to. Went up on the cape there a little too far. And we're going to fix that by doing the line up that high all the way around rather than attempting to repaint it. Once this is done on both models, I just give it, I splash, and that's really kind of what I do, is I just sort of splash brown wash over it so that it looks less flat. I mean, it's still flat. It's flat earth after all. Now just to give it a little bit of unevenness. Do that even if the paint is still a little bit wet. I do that for two reasons. One is that I'm impatient and I just want to get it over with, and the other is that I'm trying to make it look uneven anyway, so if the wash kind of spreads around in the paint, that's just contributing to the effect that I'm looking for anyway. So there's that. Yeah, that's definitely the right color. So, it's your job now. The next time, I can't remember what color I'm using to paint the base of these guys, is you have to tell me that it's flat earth. And no screwing around, okay? Mm-hmm. Making up names like peat moss or loose garden soil. Silly words like that. It's just bad. It'd be just like you to make up names for brown paint that don't even exist. Well, they probably do. You know, you go into a paint store now and there's 7,000 different browns. It's just sort of overwhelming how many shades of the same color, and then they'll carry more than one brand of paint, and the other brand of paint will have another 7,000 shades of brown. Sometimes there's just so many choices you can't choose. And what do you end up doing? You end up painting, you end up abandoning brown and going with shade of blue or something, because there's only like 6,800 shades of that color instead of 7,000. Anyway, I think we've got about like 6 browns, and this one is called Flat Earth, which, you know, depending on our mood, we consider to be quite funny. This is not, by saying that, I'm just telling you the color on the bottle. I am not saying anything one way or the other about belief of whether the earth is flat or not. I think it's called flat because it's not glossy. Okay. I'm not sure if whoever named this paint color, even though it's just flat earth, as opposed to like the other color, which is flat brown. But they thought through whether that would be, a funny thing that people would laugh about it. Anyway, yeah, I'm pretty much done with this. Just trying to get a little bit into that spot there, because that'll show. Say that that's adequately done. Look to make sure I didn't miss any spots on this one or the other one before I put it away, and then I will get out the brown wash and splooch it on. That's a technical term that I use for the technique of splooching wash onto the paint. Now, I would have thought that since I've been dawdling really well and moving along very slowly on everything, that it would be really close to break time already, but no. I've got to fill another half hour, which means I'm going to have to, believe it or not, start on the barbarians before break. Yeah. Up there. Find the brown wash. Brown. No, it wasn't that we couldn't go through the bars. It's that we couldn't all get through the bars. Like Nines and also Ralph couldn't get through the bars. But at some point, it wasn't even about getting through the bars. It was just being, it was like, there are bars here. We need to get through them. As opposed to, it was just a technique that the DM was using to direct our party in a certain direction. It was like, why would a DM do that? Why would you even put a direction into the game? Why would you even create a direction if you couldn't go that way? It was beyond us. We were baffled. It just became more and more of a challenge as we failed to get through the bars. Because the more we failed, the more we were convinced that there was something that we absolutely needed to get to on the other side. I think that was a high point of our campaign. One of the high points. We had many, many high points in our campaign, but that was one where we actually forced the DM to metagame and tell us, I'm not letting you through, it can't be done. Which of course forced us to try yet again until the DM said, no, seriously, really, absolutely, I'm not lying, this isn't part of, the campaign. I set this up so that you can't go that way. And the reason you can't go that way is because I wanted you to go the other way. And we were relented eventually, and we went the way that the DM wanted us to go. It turned out okay. There was a little combat, and it was fun, and there were things to discover. Stuff like that. Although I still think that there was something hugely important and magical and expensive and valuable and probably even fun if we had been able to get through those bars. But we'll never know, because the DM said, no, you can't do it. And if the DM is really, decided that you can't do something, even if you called in like an astronaut or something, super magic powers, you just can't be done. It can't be done. So we learned our lesson, which is that whenever confronted with bars, Just keep trying to get through them no matter what. Well, one person plus a willing participant up to a certain distance, which is measured in feet or yards, and how can you tell a difference anyway, right? Because you teleport in feet, but the distance to the object you're trying to reach is in yards, and then you end up in the ocean and you almost kill the entire party by drowning. That's the closest we came to a TPK. Yeah. This 9's almost killed the entire party by teleporting out to a boat that was, 300 yards away instead of 300 feet? Something like that. Anyway, it was a unit of measurement error. And it wasn't funny. It stopped being funny. It just turned into this battle for survival. Okay, well, these guys look menacing, right? Yeah, it was only 2/3 of the party, that's true. I was trying to swim out that far at like 1 yard per turn or something. But I was, also doing drowning checks, and it was actually pretty scary. The DM was not cutting us any breaks, finally created a miracle when it became clear that we really were getting, I think especially Zoria was getting close to drowning. Anyway, get these on camera, rotate them. Yeah, because the camera's rotated. There we are. They look really two-dimensional on my monitor because it's all so dark. But yeah, I mean, if that isn't murder culty, I don't know what is. So anyway, I'll be putting these aside, and maybe we'll see them in the stream. Maybe we won't. You never know. They might just be, delivering meat. Kind of like this, like a Brazilian steakhouse kind of thing, right? Yeah, let's put those somewhere else. And then I get to chat about these guys. These guys look pretty barbarian-y. They got leather armor, they got lots of pouches, they got really, yelling faces, very stern looking. They're showing there underneath they got these little cap things. So I've done blue themes before, but I think these barbarians, their leather armor is going to be like dyed mostly blue, except possibly for their boots. They got belts and belt buckles and scabbards and different layers of armor. Yeah, anyway, usually when I've been painting these, I've been doing like the hands and the faces first so that I can be really clear where they are. And I'm going to do that with these, paint the hands and the faces, and they're on this one at least it looks like there's some little openings in the armor here between this part and that part, so I might paint those in. This is the color I've been using for most of the faces and hands, so we'll just do that. I want to put those magnifiers on again because there's some detail in the armor, and I'm just sure how it was designed to be. There's a gap there, but there really isn't. It's just there was it was like an undershirt, and then there's just a heavy leather piece of armor up here. Hold on with these little bands, but I don't think that those are put over. I doubt that would just be put over the bare skin on the arms, but those bands would be over the shirt that's underneath it. I'm going to do it anyways. Whatever color the shirt is going to extend down, and then these pieces of armor with the bands across would be a little challenging to be put over that. So bits of hair showing underneath the bandana, at least on this one. And then the legs, it doesn't make sense for the knees to be bare. Looks like the armor comes down over the boots, so like the shoes, there's shoes or boots underneath here. It's tempting to go up to the top and have them be like folded over, but I don't think that that's how this is designed. See what this one looks like. Yeah, the same thing here. I think there's like armor spats that go down over the shoes or the boots there. That might look kind of weird. I think I'm going to paint the boots up to here. This one's different. This one looks like his arms are bare, except for these wrist guards. Definitely a big beard. It looks like this shirt. Yeah, I mean, the way it's put, I think that those, I'd say bare arms, but they're clearly not. They're not bare arms. They're his arms, humanoid arms, but they're not clothed arms. Okay, yeah, so that's how this one is. But this one definitely has a shirt and then some armor. This one, these armor spats kinds of things come down over the boots. The boots do not come up to her knees. Okay, so I'm gonna have to make up some sort of color combinations for this. I'm going with a blue theme. I've got all sorts of blue colors here. Decide what colors of blue will be what. But first, faces and arms and hands, and faces and hands and arms. Seem to have this box back up here to rest this on. Just deciding on colors is always a challenge. Okay. I see there's an issue here that I need to address. There's a piece of plastic there between the hilt of the sword and the hand that is not part of the hilt of the sword. That was bad. The whole thing didn't work. So it would be a very short guard on the sword. As I tried to get off that little bit, the whole thing broke off. Try to fix that. And what I might do is just make it shorter on the bottom, so that the top and the bottoms match. This is probably too much detail for what this thing is, but anyway, yeah, let's put some, this is relaxing painting, so let me do some painting here. Yes, we'll start painting face and hands. Some hair that shows under the bandana. That we'll be dealing with some detail. To paint all that. Here than usual. I think it's because the boundaries aren't support structures there that I didn't see. Between her head and the back of the bandana. So I will try to take that off without cutting off anything else again, like I did last time. Do that now. This little piece of plastic right there. In between here and there, where it shouldn't be. Pop right off. There we go. A little big for this, but the one with the smaller blade is being used elsewhere. That elsewhere is not here. See what's the hair and what's the ear. So I just made that up. I could continue my complaint about the level of detail. These rosin prints have even this, which is just modestly detailed compared to some. There's a lot of detail, like the fingers and the thumb and everything. Which, if one was making a display model as opposed to one that would just show up on the field of battle, I guess. Using like a one bristled brush and doing different layers of wash and things like that on. But I'm not that skilled. So all you get are a base coat and a little bit of wash. This model doesn't, at least this one doesn't have too many impossible to reach places. Some of them, it's like there's this tiny little separation between an arm and body or a weapon and the rest of it or something, and there's just so little you can't even get the paint into it. But in this case, it doesn't seem too bad. There aren't too many spots like that. There's just a lot of detail here that will call for, like around the scabbard, little bits of metallic highlighting underneath other things. The difference between the ear and the hair is pretty clear here on the right side of their head. Looks like the hair is covering the ear on the left side, so that's what we're going to say it is. Okay, well, there's that. That took a while. Let's see if I can take a long time on this one too. Big eyebrows. Yeah, painting the eyebrows and the beard. Yeah, that. Here is. I think that's the hair there. The boundary between the bandana and the hair is not that clear. Painting the flesh color a little bit too far, I find helps me see where the edges are when I put the other color on later. And yeah, I'm pretty sure that that's the intent, is that the hair comes down. Cheeks here, and then the beard. Beard. To decide what color to paint those. I was thinking maybe gray. Yeah, he would be a gray beard. So should I paint the inside of the mouth flesh and then do another color? Just leave it dark like that. I think I'll just leave it. Decided that he is unclothed. His arms are unclothed. There's just no sign of any fabric ripples or texture at all. So it's pretty barbarian-y, I think. Having basically a vest. I'm going to use a little bigger brush because I wanted the paint to be a little more evenly distributed. All this figure has in terms of armor is these wristbands here. This brush are just all over. But I'm going to have to I think I'm going to try to trim it or something. I mean, for what I'm doing here, it's not bad, but they're just bent all over the place. So in terms of getting paint sloppily on a surface, it's just right, but otherwise it's a good sized brush, but the bristles are just bristling. Sure, how of them. This would be a good time for a break after this. This color needs to dry before I do much of anything else. Be over break. Trim this brush so I can use it again, otherwise you have to retire it. bushy eyebrows, got a big bushy mustache and beard hanging down the back. I think I probably need to underneath the beard here. I'm not sure how that's going to actually end up turning out when it's done. With this color on, I have a little more flexibility in the application of the paint later. I think I might end up doing the beard and the face next, just to get that to do that. Then I have to play around with colors. We'll let that dry and then come back if it needs to be touched up later. I'm probably going to be using a wash on that anyway, on the arms and the hands and the face. I'll be a light application of a brown wash, because otherwise it just looks way too flat, even for my models. Okay, so it's pretty much time for a break now. I'll clean this. Doesn't even come off clean. To recap this up, take a break, stretch a little bit because my back is getting a little bit achy. Get out a pair of little scissors and trim this brush because it's definitely splayed out. Okay, well, thanks for joining in so far. I will be taking a break back about 12:30-ish, maybe a little bit sooner, depending on how the breaking goes. And then I'll be picking barbarian colors from this selection of blues here. And neutral gray, I'm going to use light gray for the beard and the hair on both of these models, and then using a dark gray wash on them later, just to, make it look hairy. And then, putting blue paint on things. There are all sorts of options for that. So, taking a break. We'll see you in about half an hour. Thanks for joining in so far, and we'll see you for the last part of Relaxing Painting with Dice and Dungeons in a bit. Well, took a little longer for break than I was originally planning, but sometimes that happens. Okay, back to blue barbarians. They're not blue yet, but I'm going to start making them blue. What I think I'm going to be doing is I'm going to make these belts, the belts and the sash kind of thing across. A darker color, maybe a little brighter color, either blue, green, or turquoise. Kind of like guess I'll do turquoise, be darker. I'm thinking these guys will probably be all washed with a dark gray wash eventually anyway. So yeah, there's a belt here and a sash belt kind of across there. I might do the scabbard. I might do the scabbards in the same color. Okay, I don't want to have like way too many colors on this thing. The blue-green is really nice. Take the wash better. These will be whatever. It will be whatever it turns out to be. I'm going to put this color on it, and we'll see how it does it. Yes, it's barbarian time. It's blue barbarian today. So yeah, putting paint on barbarians. I think I'm going to put the head magnifier on again, because it seems to be about the only way I'm able to focus on anything today is to set this up. So I'm going to be doing the belts and the scabbards in this color, and then we'll be looking at another color for the bandana and the overshirt. I don't want too many colors on here, like 3 or so. And then these pouches will be another color. They got little detail on it, little tie strings. That's fun to do those. Little latches on. Yeah, all sorts of really fine detail on these that don't really see until you magnify your head. And then there's a couple of little flaws. As I see them, I will try to correct them. What does this one look like in terms of belts, whatever? Same sort of thing, a cross belt. She's got different layers of armor. But yeah, well, let's just start with something. Let's start with this and see how far I can procrastinate and not get anywhere today. Whoa, that is not right. No, that is not the color. These paints are needing a lot of mixing. I mean, it's a really nice color, but it's not the turquoise blue. Anyway, yeah, I took a break. It is not raining here, which is kind of a surprise. There's been a really massive front came through earlier, bringing big thunderstorms to the north of us and to the south of us. Northern Wisconsin is getting all sorts of stuff. It got rain, snow, big chunk of freezing rain this morning. Now it looks like it's getting alternating rain and snow. So they're getting a lot of precipitation up there. South of us, yet again, another band of thunderstorms. It looks like through the whole south of the country, every 2 or 3 days, there's been a band of serious thunderstorms, including deadly tornadoes moving through. Very, very rough weather. Okay, well, that's been stirred a good long time. Let's see how this looks now. Yeah, that's right. The right color now. Then I guess we'll use the little brush. Painting both of these in the same color scheme. It's just easier to do that way. These belts are raised above the surface, and so I'm going to intentionally get the paint down on the surface beneath it so that when I paint up to it later, colored. And I guess, it's cheating a little bit to, looks like there's part of the shirt there between the belt and her neck. That'll have to be dealt with this tiny little brush later. So it's like, does everything need to be a different color? I keep the same kind of color scheme going. So like the belt, these belts, the cross belt and the belt along the waist. But I think, rather than having just way too many colors, and then you just look like a harlequin kind of, I will paint the scabbards. This is the belt down here, but it looks like this chest back armor piece that's held on by these straps kind of goes over the top of the belt in the back. Good thing I hadn't painted that, because I just smushed it with paint. Smushed is another technical term that we use in model painting. Smushed, glopped, and blooped. So if I paint the scabbard this color, then these little metal highlights will so I just blew barbarians, so how many different colors can they come by anyway? So this will be some new belt there. I'm going to paint over where the metal is going to go, because I'm not sure exactly how that'll get painted when the time comes. But I'm trying not to get it onto the hand, because that's already been painted the base color. Keep doing that over again. And I probably should put this onto the holder that I'm using for the other ones that are now dry, and I don't need it, rather than holding onto it like this. It's a little late for this one, but I'll put the other one on the holder. Oh yeah, and then the belt in the front. I think the whole buckle, that'll be some sort of metal color. Some sort of silvery color. A little bit later. Okay, well, you can at least begin to see, that it'll all be covered up with different color, but begin to see sort of how this color scheme is going to come together. They have 2 layers of armor. There's a shirt. There's actually almost 3, but there's like a shirt underneath this, and then there's like a plate with straps that go around. Just to keep the colors from getting out of control. What I think I'll probably do is just use like 2 colors for the armor. One for the under armor. And then one for the over armor. At least that's what I would try to do. We'll see how that goes. Many colors on, and I'll just and again, it looks messy, but what I'm doing is making sure that I get the paint on the edges of this. Cover the buckle, because when I put the metallic paint on the buckle, I don't get it all. I just never have been able to do that. So I don't want there to be primer showing through. Here, and then we're dealing with the scabbard. That's going to be like metal here. Get this blue paint in there, and paint the whole scabbard this blue color. Same thing with the dagger. And this is, it's going to be really kind of bright and all, looking not barbarian-y in sense, but after I get the wash on it, it'll actually look rubby. This one I'm going to end up making it look kind of, I need to paint the inside of that black. That's the inside of the scabbard. The detail is showing there. Take a little bit black paint or dark blue, dark paint, dark gray or something, probably black. The belt is showing between these pouches here, so paint that. Probably going to go ahead and try to get that in the top of the scabbard there. Them later, so that if I have to touch up with this blue, I can do that right away. Of course, I'm going to end up having to touch up with the blue after I paint the buckle too. So, and another option is to not do the touch up until later. But that option, I'll somehow manage to forget to paint the inside of the scabbard. Do the touch-up, and then I'll have to come back and do the inside of the scabbard, and then get that paint all over the top of the scabbard and have to do the blue again. So I will no right now because I'm still painting this blue, but the next thing I will do is paint that little bit of oh, this is right. I said I was going to use the holder on this, didn't I? And then I didn't. Good for me. I lied to you. It might be okay. We'll see how that turns out a little later. It's part of the strap. It's right up against. Looks like it's bare shoulder. Looks no. Yeah, it looks like I managed to get a little bit on the arm there where I didn't want it, so we'll have to do that fleshy color later. I'm just looking around to see if I missed any obvious places that should be blue, like this entire sword scabbard, right? So I was going to paint that blue, and then I haven't done any of it. I'm going to use a slightly larger brush on that, though. Use this really fine detail brush to very finely and then deliberately get the paint onto the adjacent surface. That'll get painted a different color later. It's these bits like that, you know, that end up showing later in your. This is pretty bright blue, doesn't look very barbarian-y, but I guess I will say that when it gets washed, this whole thing will just get washed. And it will look less shiny. Yeah, well, there's a little mess here and there. This black paint, just gonna hand shake it, because I just need the smallest little drop. Yeah, I know. I haven't painted the sword scabbard yet, but I will. Put this on in there. It actually worked. Get a slightly bigger brush and finish the scabbard of that very large toothpick sword. I trimmed this. Let's see how it's working since I trimmed it. Great. I just sent the cap of this paint flying onto the floor somewhere, but I can't see it. It probably went under the workbench. Yay! I'll trim the bristles on this. This is the one I was complaining about earlier. And yeah, give it a test here. Oh, now there's blue stuff all over the barbarians, so that they're starting to really be blue barbarians. Somewhere on the floor is the cap for this that I definitely will need to find sooner than later. Okay, I'm going to put the boots now. Their boots here are under the spats, under the armor spats, so they're only going to go up to about there. This one's boots and go up to here. And I'm going to stick with the blue theme, and there's this field blue that I've used. This was the back of the cape on the other one I just did. It's a really dark bluish gray. It'll look almost black when it's washed. I think it'll be a good boot color. It'll be a boot, the right color. And this is the only place on the model, I think. Enough of this. It's off of here. These on. You might recall these from a million years ago. Or at least the first half of the stream. These are the cultists of some sort. Okay. Now this one's on here, and so we'll just do this one first. So to here. It seemed to be kind of the natural location for the edge of the boot. That wherever you are, that your weather is not too bad today, because it's another huge series of storms plowing through the U.S. here. Oh, that was amazing. Knocked it over and it went flying. I wonder if I hit paint all over everything. So we'll find out when I look at it later. Anyway, yeah, big sections of the country, potential tornadoes again. The West Coast, just one atmospheric river, they're called, after the other. The south central part of the country, just storm fronts one after the other. Been a very, very difficult spring weather for a lot of people. So I hope you're all safe today. And we are here, at least so far. The really bad stuff seems to have missed us. Really, her entire arm is broken off. Oh my. And it fell. Just snapped right off. Whole arm and sword and everything. Well, let me paint the boots. The first time I've had that kind of disaster happen. That's really not good. Because unless I find it, that's not something that I'm going to be able to recreate. So, just in the span of like 15 minutes, I managed to drop, and I can't see where, so I need to find the cap of one of the bottles of paint, and that's an important thing to get. I can borrow one from a bottle of paint that's empty. I know I can do that, but still. But more importantly, somehow I managed to knock this off. It went flying, and their arm snapped off. So much for relaxing, huh? That is definitely not relaxing. I'm gonna cap this up. Fell in this direction, but sometimes those little pieces can just go flying. Yeah, I'm going to be doing some searching for an arm and a sword. Totally weird. You don't have to do a flip. I flipped this model. Flip! And broke the arm off. So I'm carefully moving all these jars, because this is the general location where it fell. Oh my. Take these guys and set them aside. So you're going to watch me not relaxing, looking for the arm that got broken off of this model. Idea how far it could have flown. It's not a small piece. You know, there's a sword on it, and I had painted the hand already, so it's got some of this color paint on. I'm looking in the water. Flipped pretty hard. I think what happened was these had magnets in their bases, and they're repulsive. And like one got close to this, and it just made it fly. Just made it fly way over. Yeah, sorry about this, but I really can't get much further. There it is, way down here on the workbench. Way down there. But there's the arm. So what you're going to be watching here is, I'll go down and see if I can find the bottle cap. One, since I'm lucky at finding things. what's going to happen is that this bottle of empty paint, dried paint, which used to be scarlet red, still is. Do I have an empty vehicle bottle anywhere? That would be a whole lot easier to paint off of the model. Okay, so what did we do? We lost. There's it. Well, I've been lucky enough to find these things anyway, but boy, they travel a long distance. I'm going to say, what should we use to reattach the arm? This stuff is not polystyrene, so I don't think I can use model cement on it. Epoxy would probably work. That contact cement would probably work, but that's going to leave, it's going to show. Gorilla Glue, but it takes forever to set, and this is one of those things where, you know, you just need to hold it in place forever. And I want it to be solid. The contact cement tends to leave a little flexibility. So I think I'm going to mix a little bit of epoxy. Don't get it absolutely right immediately. It gets to be really hard to fix it. But what I'm going to do is I need the tiniest little drop of epoxy, itsy bitsy little drop, and I'm just going to mix up a little bit of it and let it set for a while. This is 5-minute epoxy, and I don't want to hold that in place for 5 minutes. I want to hold it in place for maybe a minute, not 5. So I can let this set for 4 minutes until it gets kind of tacky. Instead of really liquid, but it's got some tack to it. And then put the pieces together, and then I'll chat and blather on about something. I don't know, maybe a 60s cartoon or something, while I wait for it to finish setting yet enough so that I don't have to keep holding it. I'm looking for a toothpick, which I had here. I carefully put them somewhere where I could find them, and now I'm not. So again, I'm going to wander around. I'm having a great time watching. So, shall we recap the excitement here? Came back from break and started putting blue paint on the blue barbarians, so that they would be blue. And then the bottle cap for the paint slipped out of my hand and went flying, I'd say about 4 feet. Part of that might have been a roll, because it is kind of round. That was kind of not fun. But then the mutually repulsive magnets on the bases of these got too close to each other, and this one went flying. I mean, it really did. It just jumped right off of the box and broke the arm off. It did, and the arm ended up on the middle shelf of the workbench down below me. It was a pretty impressive flight. So now I need to wait for a couple of minutes for this to set up enough so that it's like 3.5 to 4 minutes into its 5-minute setup period. So while I'm waiting for that, let me tell you about a couple of things. One is that Relaxing Painting with Dice and Dungeons is scheduled for a stream on Twitch on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays from 10 until 2. Sometimes starts a little late, sometimes ends a little early, sometimes ends a little late. I'll frequently go long if I'm trying to get something finished. But next week, Monday, this Monday that is coming up right after this weekend, yeah, see, it's that enough to hold yet. I will only be doing a half a day. I have, as I've talked about, the glasses that aren't quite working. What I'm going to be doing in the morning is visiting an optometrist to see if we can't get those fixed. So Monday, but next Monday only, it will be noon until 2. At least that's what I'm planning on. But every other Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, it is from 10 until 2, and that's when we do Relaxing Painting. And does that cable really bother you? I can move the cable. It's just that when I'm looking down painting, I don't notice it. So, but now that I look up, it's right. It is kind of distracting, isn't it? Yeah. So after this sets and the arm holds on its own, and it's not quite there yet. After this sets, I'm going to waste some more time not painting by moving the cable. And it looks like there's enough give on the cable. No, there isn't too much slack on it, but the camera has moved a little bit, so I think there is now. And I did it before, but then the whole camera moved, so I'm not sure what was happening there or why. Okay, yeah, this still needs to be held for another long period of time. And, yeah, it's good to look at it from a different angle because it was a clean break, and the surfaces should fit together really nicely, but it's kind of hard to see them. Go up a little further. Maybe I should have used the contact cement. I don't know. But that'll be my next task after this settles a little bit and grabs hold, is to get that cable so that it doesn't annoy Who all the time. So I'm thinking, another this will suddenly, all of a sudden it'll cure, right? It'll be slidey, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, now it's cured, and you can hardly move it. So it looks fine from this angle, but I can't rotate it. Kind of, I guess. Ugh. Yeah, see, that's the problem. So I have to hold this motionless now for a bit. I am holding it motionless. Anyway, yes, Monday. There'll be just a half a stream. The second half of the stream will happen Monday. The first half of the stream won't happen Monday. But then we're right back on the Monday, Wednesday, Friday 10 until 2 schedule for the foreseeable future. Wednesday will continue to be Submarine Wednesday. And I'm hoping that next week, Wednesday, I'll actually make some visible progress. Unlike this last Wednesday when I did at least 3 hours of not babbling but actual working during the stream and managed to, it looks like all I managed to do was glue the torpedoes onto their torpedo racks and make a mess of the bunks. I did get the ladders on the escape hatch though. That was good. It's still trooping a little bit. Go, and then it breaks the adhesion of the whole thing. So, yeah, so on Wednesday I'll be working on the submarine again. Finishing up the bunk beds. I have to paint the sheets. That'll be a challenge. It'll take more than one coat of white paint because the whites don't cover that well. And then a whole lot of light green. Again, that's probably going to be a 2-coat kind of thing for a lot of the surfaces in the sail and the torpedo room. Then I can fit the pieces together, paint a little, scrape a little paint off here and there. That'll have to be done so that I can use model cement to hold the pieces together. There was one part of the sail I have to remember. The floors were painted tan. Okay. It's like 4 shades of tan in this model on the box top, but the painting instructions just say tan. But I think the bottom of the bottom floor of the sail is the ceiling of the control room, and that's green. So I have to remember to check to make sure that that is painted the correct color. Since I have the green paint out anyway, that's what I'll be using a lot of. That should be seems to be holding. It seems to be, yeah. I'm going to not move this for a bit. Try to not have it fall. There we are. So Submarine Wednesday, and then I'll only have half. At the rate I'm painting these, I'm not going to finish them on Monday for the half session, so I'll probably finish them on Friday. I was saying earlier, Nicole managed to paint an entire beholder with amazing shading and everything else in 2 sessions, and they were even shorter sessions. And I've managed to do this and break off an arm in the same amount of time. It's a pretty impressive feel. Okay, I'm going to throw this away. And what I'm going to do next, let that epoxy set yet a bit. So I'm going to get some gray paint, and I'm going to paint the eyebrows and beard and exposed hair on this guy, and then go back to the other one, and they have little bits of hair sticking out underneath. Yeah, I was supposed to do this. I was supposed to do something about this cable. Well, you know, we have this magic stuff. This other magic stuff in a drawer back here. Since I've been up and bouncing around finding broken arms and bottle caps, why not do this too? Painter's tape. And since I can't find a place to hang this, I'm just going to hold it up and tape on. That's a big piece of tape, but there it is. So how's that? Is that better? The cord isn't dangly now. And, well, let's see. The green, the bottle cap there. It'd be good if I move this way just a little bit. Okay, so the gray bottle is the center of the camera, so that's what I'm aiming at. I'm going to put my magnifier back on, because I'm going to be painting the eyebrows and the beard and these little locks of hair in the back under the bandana gray. I must say, that'll be a challenge. Well, yeah, an extender would be good. There's probably actually more play in the cord, but it goes back and gets entangled in this rat's nest of other cables. It's about 8 different cables altogether, so I'm guessing that there's just a good 6 inches of play on this cable that could be made available if it were just unplugged and untangled. Okay, yeah, so let's see how this goes. Every time I do relaxing painting, sometimes there's always something, you know? Always something that's more exciting than relaxing. But this is the first time I've ever broken an arm off of something. Big bushy eyebrows. Color is almost the same color as the primer. It's a little bit difficult in some places to see what's painted and what isn't. Here you can see it comes down here. Into the cheeks here. Got it up onto the bandana there, but that's just a bandana, so that's not a problem. Let's see if I can do something similar to this. The easy side first because this is tucked in here. Sword. On the blue, need to fix that. I went a little too far there, so I have to get the flesh color out. And then its hair shows on the back here. This is always one of those things where you go, okay, I need to do a little touch up there, like at the top of the little dot there on the belt, and a little bit of the flesh color there. And do I do that right away or do I wait till later? In this case, I'm going to paint the other model. There's little bits of gray hair showing on them. And then I'm going to come back and do the touch-up on this right away, just so that I can say that part of it is done. I think that's not too bad. This side, side of the face is not quite as clearly defined as the left in terms of where the beard is. This alone now. Big broken arm person here. It's hard to see this, but there's little tufts of hair. Yeah. Great. Dropped it again. That would have been a problem because I'm sure it would have broken again. There's little tufts of hair showing under the bandana here, and I want to get those painted this gray color because they're twins. No, I don't know if they're really twins or not. but I'm going to say they are, because I'm painting them the same color no matter what. It's still sort of on camera too. This might be turning out okay considering the excitement we had a while ago. Flying paint bottle caps, broken arms. And the arm, once that's painted, that won't be too bad. The epoxy should make a pretty nice solid hold on it. Okay, so there's that. And now I'm going to get the blue paint out. I doubt that there's, yeah, the stuff in the well is pretty much, it's dried up. So if you recall, as I was doing this, I got a tiny spot of gray. Top of the shoulder. This was what, turquoise? Yeah, this color here. I'm just going to, I've done this before and with a little bit of success. Just to get a spot of it right out of the cap of the bottle so I don't have to waste an entire drop. It's its tiniest little spot. That. And then this color, pull this color out and stir it again. The barbarian have a mullet? No, there's no mullet. There's a bandana, but the back of his hair is pretty neatly trimmed. I don't know, better. Tiny little drops of this again. Tiny little spots. The top of the eyebrow. The bandana comes down almost to the eye. But I'm going to paint some of this on it. So in case it doesn't, we have an eyebrow in that, like that. It's an eyebrow. This is a splotch. Bandana is painted flush there. It will be some sort of blue color. One of the blues. And then right here, and then that was it. Be done. Put this back. Threads on this bottle definitely need cleaning. Sticky, and if it dries, it will almost be impossible to open. but that's a matter for another day. I don't know, what colors should I use here? It's got this azure, really nice light blue. That'll take a wash pretty well. And then maybe light blue, which is a little grayer color. I think I'm going to do the pants on this guy. I want to do in the light blue color. They're just kind of gray. It's not going to show that much. And I'm going to do the shirt and the cuffs and the bandana all in this azure, which is kind of a light, really light purplish blue, but I'm going to be washing it, and so it'll look quite different then. And then the equivalent on this figure is just like these undercarts, like in here around the back behind the straps. Okay, like under there and there. There's going to be a lot of azure on this one, and not that much light blue. But the light blue is, like I said, is a grayer color. Let's start with this one. Now I'm going to let that epoxy continue to rest. Grabbing different brushes here. This should be a good one for this. There isn't any edge except right at the top of the boot with this color. Just right here. So I'll be able to use this brush for most of it, but I'm going to have to use the small brush to get the top of the boots right. This paint changes color. A lot of these paints do. As they dry, they change color pretty dramatically. This one goes on looking very sky bluish, but as it dries, it gets much more gray. Yeah, but I think I'm going to, before I cap it up, if I remember, I'm going to put a couple of drops of thinner in, because it's about half down, and some evaporation has taken its toll on the solvent. And it's going on just a little thick. I'm going to be using this on the submarine for parts of it. And I don't want brush marks even on small surfaces, so a couple of drops of thinner won't hurt and might help. So this barbarian is going to look very bright. Okay, especially when you see what it looks like when the azure paint is on. And so the gray wash is going to be essential, otherwise it's going to look really not barbarian-y at all. And I usually don't wash models usually don't put a lot of heavy wash on, but with this one, I'm expecting I will be. These will definitely be base coat colors, and then the wash will make them look more warm, more battle, and that kind of thing. At least that's what the intent is going to be. We'll see if the execution manages to match the intent. Comes to it. Looking here, and I used the small brush and did a relatively poor job of good. You will definitely say, once this is base coated, this does not look like a barbarian. I can guarantee that will be your first impression. And how did I use the small brush and I got on there. So I have to pull out the, that's not covered either. So that will give me an excuse to do touch up with that other color, which was medium, no, field blue. So that's all that has this color on it, just the pants. That's it. But there's azure shirt. These pouches, I'm not sure what I'll do with those. We'll see. There's going to be some metal highlights on the scabbards. The hilt, I'm going to have to paint a different color, probably some sort of dark gray. These little strings on the pouches, and I might play with those. You never know. Buckles need to be metallized, so I'll play around with this a little bit later. What just fell? Did something break off? It's weird. There was like something in my hand that fell. And yeah, so there's not much of this color on this figure. Just the space here on the knees. Awkward places. The shirt here. The other shirt shows here, and then under the arms. So this kind of wraps around. There's straps holding it, and over armor. For this. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I have to get the smaller brush out for the other side. This will do for this part. But on the other side, here is fine. But then under here, it's pretty hard to get to. Get there and grab this brush and make an effort to get the paint into these spaces here. I'm definitely going to be painting over the strap that comes across, but I need to get it down to the belt here. I need to get the blue paint out again, the dark blue, in order to make that work. I have to do another little turquoise touch-up. I could not reach without getting it onto the other surface. What we're looking at here is whatever isn't this color is either going to be azure or some sort of pouch color. I might do the pouches in like just shades of gray, just so that they show a little bit of contrast. There isn't much on her. There's this horn. Okay, and then this one pouch with a little clasp on it. The other one has all sorts of things that the arm is attached and hasn't fallen off. That's a good thing. The paint is sort of covering up. Oh my. Okay, that's a thing. These parts of the armor here are held down by straps, like over. Yeah. So this sleeve under here is actually this color. These little straps that are holding on the upper part of the armor. So technically I should be doing what I'm doing here, which is I'm going to paint over the straps. That's the only way I can get that done. Just paint that azure with those little straps holding it. I need to do the same thing on this side. I remember that. I saw that before. And it's pretty obvious that that's how it's done. That's a heavy leather armor held on by straps over the undershirt. And there's that. Now let me look at the other guy's pants before I put that. Hi, Pumpkin Lord. Thanks for following. Really appreciate it. Thanks for joining in. We are here from 10 until 2, so I've got another 5 whole minutes of relaxing painting. And if you had been watching the stream, you notice that there's a whole lot less painting than one would think in a painting show, because I'm really not that good at it. But I get to do all these minifigs for a D&D campaign and dungeon tiles. And on Wednesdays, Submarine Wednesday, I take a nostalgia trip back to the 1960s and work on a Renwall cutaway George Washington ballistic missile submarine, which has been kind of fun, because I built one when I was like in 7th grade. And now I'm doing one again. Okay, so I'm doing a little touch up here. I need to touch up this color on the guy's boots. Yes, well, it is Submarine Wednesdays, because Wednesday is the day that I am permitted by the overlords of this show to work on my submarine. Did I not clean this brush? Yep, I get to work on my submarine. So far, I am getting probably, let's just say that it's going very slowly. I spent 3.5 hours on it this last Wednesday and managed to accomplish almost nothing. I mean, it was really the lack of getting anything done was I even impressed myself with how little was accomplished in that particular stream. And it wasn't like I wasn't doing anything. In fact, I was working more than I usually do. But for some reason, no progress was made. Let's see, did the blue touch-up already. So yes, the Renwall, you should come in on Submarine Wednesdays, because it's an amazing thing. It's like 2 feet long. It was built in the original ones came out in the 60s, and there's been versions of it all along. But it's a cutaway. This one side of the submarine is cut away, and you can see the interior. And the interior is a combination of impressionistic, that gives you the impression of crew bunks, and incredible detail. Oh, look, there's 75 conduit pipes through this, and the clock, which is the size of, feels like the size of a pinhead, actually has dials on it, like the little numbers and dials. Okay, well, this guy's kind of coming along. It looks a little sloppy, but you can begin to see the how it's going to look. The pants are done, so the rest of this, the tunic and the little bracers on the arms and his bandana, are all going to be azure, which is a light purplish blue. I need to do details like the buckles on the belts and the highlights on the scabbards. These pouches, I'm just going to do the pouches in like gray, I think. And then the whole thing, other than the skin tones, which will be washed with a light brown wash, are going to be washed in black, gray, dark gray, so that it doesn't look so fresh and clean. And at some point, I'll do the sword. You might notice that the sword is not the gray, because it is actually a toothpick. The original sword didn't print. And now it's got a toothpick sword. Yeah, I should do a couple of little things that I'm thinking of, like I could do the hilts on the dagger and the sword, like going to do those in black. But I run out of time, and if I start it, it'll be like quarter after by the time I finish those tiny little spots, because that's the speed at which I paint. So take these off a second, turn off the light, other glasses. So thank you for becoming a follower. I really appreciate that. Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, 10 until 2, relaxing painting with Dice and Dungeons. Except on Monday only, it will be from 12 until 2 because of an appointment on Monday morning. So I'll be working on these guys. We'll see. I might come. There's only like one more color, base coat color, that needs to go on. And then there's just details like the sacks and pouches and swords and hilts and things. So I might be able to finish these on Monday, if not on Friday. And Submarine Wednesday, as who points out, that is also the day when you subscribe. Thank you. Be working on the Renwall cutaway model and hopefully making some visible progress on the torpedo room and the sail. Maybe even installing those pieces into the submarine if the green paint dries soon enough. Yeah, but you'll see that. So please join in on that. It's kind of interesting. Trying to deal with both on one hand, the detail, and the other hand, the impressionistic parts of the model. Yeah, well, I did finish these guys today. I'll show those off. These maybe they are part of a murder cult that we ran into in our D&D campaign. That might be what these are. We don't know for sure. Or they might just be very dark, shadowy, ghostly-looking figures. Those aside, so yeah, I accomplished something today, and I got some base coat on the blue barbarians, and we'll put some more on Monday and see how far I get. So thanks everybody who joined in today for Relaxing Painting with Dice and Dungeons. See you again on Monday, again a little bit later, just half a stream then. Submarine Wednesday, a full stream where there might finally be some progress. I'm not going to promise though. And at least I'll be able to show you the pieces that I'm not making progress on. I've gotten pretty good at being able to show you the things I've not been doing. And we'll have more of that on Wednesday. And then if I don't finish these guys on Monday, I'll finish them on Friday. And if I do finish them on Monday, then I've got some plate armored warrior figures to work on, unless Nicole does a whole bunch of sewer walls and gets those primed so that I can do base coating as we progress with the development of our gigantic sewer that will look like a very, very large version of this. Thanks again. Please feel free to join in Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. And if you can, catch our Dungeons and Dragons stream on Sundays at 2. And if you can't catch it on 2, watch it on YouTube or listen to it as a podcast, because that's what Dice and Dungeons is mostly about. And I think you'll enjoy it. And I was going to put some thinner in a paint. This paint. Okay. Now I remember something I was going to do. You can watch me do that. If I get out my little pipette, a thinner. In the paint. That was pretty good. And maybe on Monday I won't be dropping and breaking things like I did today. We'll see. Thanks again. I do need to wrap up. See you on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and hopefully even on Sunday. Thanks for being a subscriber. Thanks for being a follower. Yeah, really appreciate it.